No, it paid me for the first couple of weeks, and eventually they fell behind on the money, like next week, and then it was like, no, next week, and like I was talking to everybody, like Rick King and all the guys that were there, and they were saying, no, they're behind, especially the Puerto Rican guys. They were like 12, 13, 15 weeks behind. Around those years, Bruiser Brody just got killed in the shower.
Yeah.
Just taking a shower or having an argument, not taking a shower, but they went for a finish, discussed that in the shower, away from the boys.
Yeah.
And he got stabbed by the guy that I was shooting with, Jose Gonzalez.
Yeah. You were feuding with him?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And you, Jack, had some steam with Cowboy Hughes. You know Cowboy Hughes?
From here, from Canada.
Yeah.
Mike
from
Hughes.
River Times. Yeah. The tour, I don't know, before I got there, they got into a big arguments or whatever, so people knew it was heat between them two.
Well, the three of us here, we're kind of, we're not really like the Three Stooges, although, we could kind of be like a Larry, Moe, and Baldy.
No, it's Larry, Curly, and Bro.
I think we should get to our very special guest. And when I say very special, this is probably the biggest in-studio guest we have ever had. This is someone who has been a part of all of the major promotions in professional wrestling history. Let's face it, he was in the WWF, where he was a multiple-time tag team champion. He was in WCW. He was in ECW. He was in NWA TNA, and is currently a member of the Ring of Honor roster, an illustrious career spanning easily well over 30 years, and someone who is a shining example to everyone out there, myself included, that you will never give up on your dreams, and if you choose to do that, you will succeed, make it to the top, and anything is possible. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, I give to you our special guest, none other than PCO Pierre Carl Ouellet.
Thank you. What a nice intro. Here we go. Yeah, and I told Jacques, and that's a mistake I did. Then he went to Vince and he told Vince, and then Vince ribbed me, I'm coming. And I see he's looking at me, and I'm coming with my hand, and I'm firm, ready to shake his hand and have a talk with him. And then Jacques was not too far. And then I go, and then he turns around, and he goes, and Nikolai, Volkov was there, and I go to Jacques. So what is Jacques? And then Vince turned around, and he goes, no, pal, you can come to me anytime. Just grab me by the arm. And that kind of broke the ice, though. After that, it was like, he called me on my cell, and no, not my cell, not at home. I was supposed to be off for a while. I had a few meetings with him, and he's like, we're going to do a retention with you. Like people wants to see you in Montreal, but you're from Louisiana, and then we don't give it to them, we don't give it to them, we don't give it to them. And eventually, after a year or two, boom, we put you on the show in Montreal. And then I've not even started my character yet. I'm just in the process of letting grow my hair and and getting ready to start the Jean-Pierre Lafitte character. And then he calls me up. He goes, Carl, I need you for a favor. It's like, okay, I'm working for you. No, I didn't say that, but in my mind, I'm like, okay. Yeah. He says, IRS just got injured, and I would need you to work Shawn Michaels at the Forum.
Wow.
Just to replace him. So it was a semi-main event, I think. And I told him, yeah, of course, I'll do it. And then, yeah. So there was no retention. That was right away put back on a show right after the Jacques retirement match. That was maybe 4 months, 2-3 months.
And a footnote on that was you wrestled that match against Shawn Michaels. At least I wasn't there for it, but I saw in the results you were Pierre Carl Ouellet.
Yeah.
For that match.
Yeah.
Now, was that probably the first time you wrestled as Pierre Carl Ouellet, as not necessarily PCO, but they gave you the name, I think maybe because they wanted to keep Pierre from the Quebecers.
Yeah.
But you were Carl Ouellet. So.
Well, and the Journal de Montréal, it was always Pierre Carl Ouellet. That was Jacques' idea. Was like, just always put your real name attached to Pierre because they're going to keep the right on the Pierre character, so at least people will know who you are. So that's why every time we had publicity in the Journal de Montréal, I made sure it was Pierre Carl Ouellet.
Yeah. Now, did you ever have to correct the announcers? Because I noticed a lot of the times they're like, "Oh, Carl Ouellet is in the ring right now."
That's why I decided to be PCO because they butchered my name so many times.
No, Americans can't speak French.
Well, Ouellet and Ouellet, and it was all kind of different. All kind of different butchering.
So I know you and we had talked about that match with Shawn Michaels that you had, which I think that's your only match that you had with him.
With Shawn, I believe it's the only one.
Do you want
was the only one, probably one of my favorite match.
Wow.
Because he made me look so good, even though he was pissed off.
Yeah.
Because I pissed him off.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you wanted to share the story.
Yeah, it was stupid. I just done the, I was I was not even 25 yet. Yeah, I was 25. So I just lost to Jacques for the retirement match. It was sold out, 18,500 people. We work on top of the bill, the main event, and it was crazy. Probably one of the greatest, winning the titles, WWE, the retirement match, another great moment, awesome publicity leading all the way up to the show. Like I was on every radio station, TV station, like everywhere. Newspaper, front page, back page, like everywhere. And after that, it was me and Shawn, and then I had to put Shawn over. And then I was still talking to Jacques sometimes. And I called them, and they want me to do the job for Shawn. It's like, no, you can't do that. They're going to kill you to do that. But I knew I was starting another character. But it's like I was hesitating. Like I went to Shawn. I said, "Nah, I don't think it's good if I lose." And he went crazy. He went so crazy. He went like 30 guys just put me over in a Royal Rumble. You don't want to put me over? I don't think it's good, but but eventually I changed my mind. But that little, maybe I don't want to do it. He made me look like $1 million in that match. But I think that came to haunt me, the match with Kevin Nash after that. I think that's me just putting 2 and 2 together.
Well, I look at it, and I heard the story from you. We must have talked about it back when we were...
Because he beat me with feet on the ropes.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't know that detail.
Yeah.
I just know that you said you had spoken to Jacques, and just looking at it from a pragmatic, common sense standpoint, I feel Jacques and Shawn probably go way back to when Jacques was working with Raymond against Shawn and Marty. Shawn wasn't as big of a deal as he was when you were going to have that match with him. I think Jacques probably always viewed Shawn the same, that he's just this punk kid. I had these matches, me and my brother, with him and Marty. They're going to make you lose to that guy. Jacques probably wasn't aware of how big of a deal Shawn was and that the company was behind him when he told you those things.
Well, a lot of things happened also. I don't know the timeline, basically, but I know after the retirement match, I don't know how many months between that and my match with Shawn. The retirement match was November '94, so I don't know exactly the date that I've wrestled Shawn right after that. But also, we were supposed to go to the Olympic Stadium and supposed to get the belts of Bob Backlund, maybe for one night or 2 nights, or to have Jacques as my manager to go to the Olympic Stadium. And Jacques was really quick on going to the Rio Régie des Sports Olympiques, installation, Régie des Sports Olympiques installation, whatever, Rio it's called, and made the deal with the stadium for that much money and this, and calling back and forth. I got the stadium for that much money, and we'll do this and that. And then out of the nowhere, eventually, Vince called back Jacques and he said, "We're not going to the stadium anymore." So that left a sour taste on Jacques' mouth. on top of the fact that the WrestleMania 10 was supposed to be our big moment to shine, because we were complaining we don't have legit strong pin in the middle of the ring. We always get DQ'd or stuff like that, and so it's supposed to be a strong win for us at WrestleMania 10. And in the afternoon, Pat Patterson came up to us and said, "Guys, I got a good news and a bad news." Which one do you want first? You know, when they say that, it's too bad news.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the good news was you're not going to have your big win tonight. And the good news was, even though you're not winning, you're not losing the titles. So it was
bittersweet.
it's just a match with no interest, basically. It's you know, it's like getting DQ'd or counted out or whatever it was. So that's why we did the not capable for the suplex.
Yeah.
And I shoved him hard, and we planted that seed there.
Yeah.
Because he told me, Jacques, I'm going to be business. I'm going to do everything they want us to do, but I'm retiring. That's it. Like that. That's the drop that made
the
my-
final
It was
piece.
the
Yeah.
straw that
Straw,
broke the camel's
yeah.
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, when you had that match with Shawn, now the one in Montreal after you've been off, and they were having you start the Jean-Pierre Lafitte character, which you hadn't started as of yet. You end up doing that match with Shawn. Do you feel like that was the moment that started?
Not then. Now I'm thinking like that, but then I didn't even like paid attention to that detail, because everything went super well after that. Like, I'm putting Shawn over, and then he's pissed off a little bit, but we were having a hell of a match. I think he made me look so good. Like, I pressed him like he was a feather. No, not because I was so strong, but he just knew how to do all those things, and bumping all over the place. He was just great. One of the greatest worker in my mind. Like, and what I'm thinking about putting good matches together, I think him and Brett, they're both good.
But what I was getting to is that might have been the start of the friction you'd have with the Click. That
Could have
would
been.
then lead to.
Could have been, but what I don't understand, it's they started me up as the Pirate, Jean-Pierre Lafitte, and I'm undefeated for 8 months, almost a full year.
I remember that.
Without losing. So if it was like that thing, oh, maybe this guy's going to be a problem eventually, I think they would have cut off that run right away, or made me pass some tests before. So that's why I was surprised when Kevin Nash came up to me eventually and just walked up to me and said, I didn't even know we had another show at the Forum. I didn't even know it was for the world title. He just came up to me and said, "Yeah, man, me and you at the Forum, big boot jackknife." And it just warmed me up so much. I kept thinking about it and thinking, and got really mad because that Click was super. They were like, at that time, like they could, Shawn would come back after having a hell of a match and would say, I'm the showstopper. That wasn't like that was a shoot at the back, before it was on screen. It was in front of the boys. Nobody can be top that off and just bragging about.
But you'd also tell me he'd come backstage and he'd like say to people, "You're fired," and I'm going to get you
Oh
fired.
yeah. To me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I also saw Shane Douglas gave a great interview there on Hannibal TV where he talked about that night at the Forum where you and Nash were talking to each other, and he said that Shawn specifically positioned himself on your blind side
With the belt.
and was giving Nash the orders of.
Oh yeah, they were
like-
trying
like-
to ambush me or something.
Wow.
Yeah, no, to say really like screw this guy over, don't give him anything,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Shane Douglas gives a
Yeah.
first-hand witness account of what.
I was such in the middle of the action. It was such, I think, a great moment for the boys, to see all that turmoil going on at that time, because the Click they were like deciding a lot of things.
They were on top of the world at that
Yeah,
time.
They were-
yeah. They were controlling like pretty much every position. The tag belts, the Intercontinental title, the world title, like it was between them all the time, between Kevin and Scott and Shawn and Kevin and Shawn, the tag team champ, and then Scott the Intercontinental, and then Kevin the world, and all the belts were rolling between them. So.
And I feel like your circle of friends were kind of the people who were, you know, kind of, how can I put it, at odds with them. You know, there was you, there was Sid, you know,
Bob Holly.
Sid, yeah, Bob Holly.
Smoking Guns.
Vader too?
No,
No, not Vader.
Vader wouldn't have been there at that time.
he wasn't there.
No, that was like 96.
We're,
Late 96.
Adam Bomb for sure. Like, because Adam Bomb also got pissed one night where they promised him the Intercontinental title, and then that got switched. No, we're not gonna do it anymore.
Oh, wow.
It's gonna be Shawn instead. that was him. He went like, that's it. I'm out.
And he was a really good worker, Adam Bomb,
Went
Brian
to,
Clark.
He went to WCW.
It's funny you mention that because he had a hell of a run in WCW as Wrath. I remember he had an undefeated streak, and who ended up breaking the streak? Kevin Nash.
Really?
Kevin Nash on his
Right
road
right before he
to
beat
Goldberg.
yeah.
Yeah.
But the funniest thing about all that now, it's like me and Kevin we're pretty tight now. Like it's just over the years, you know, it's just I realized how many mistakes I made. You know,
But now,
I was not any better. You know, I was probably worse, or at least I was.
so, but I want to
He's got
know.
no skin in the game now.
Hold on, because I want to know this, and I never asked you this off air, but I know that you had a match with him. I don't know if it was Montreal or if it was Quebec City.
In Montreal.
It was either Montreal or it was Quebec City, but one of them where Nash, in his version of it, says that you took a liberty on him, that you did a leg drop.
Oh no! That was.
Was that Montreal?
That was the night after, because what happened in Montreal when I refused to job against him, then the ambush, Shawn came with the belt, wanted to hit me with the belt, and then I threw a fit at him like, you better not miss me with the belt. But I felt like it was crazy. It was really crazy. I was super adrenaline. So Kevin came up to me and looking down like, so you don't want to lose against me tonight? And I told him, no, I'm not losing tonight. And then as we're about 10 minutes in the match in Montreal, and we're fighting because it was a double count out, we're fighting towards the boys. Everybody's in the curtain. They think it's going to explode into a real fight. You know, he's going to shoot me or whatever, shoot on me. But every forearms and everything became stiffer as we get closer to the curtain. So then, the next morning, like, I've got everybody calling me. Tonight, everything's gonna be okay in Quebec City. You go to Kevin, you say I'm sorry. Whatever. You just apologize to him. So I do all that. I'm trying to start from scratch, you know, saying, okay, I made a mistake last night. I'm gonna, do whatever you want me to do tonight.
Not to cut you off, but I feel I've heard the story kind of told before. Was Jacques not also maybe speaking to you at that time?
I was
talking about WCW?
Yeah, I was always calling him, but I wouldn't put anything on him, like, because I was 27 then, and I could have made better decisions. Okay. I don't think it's. I personally, I won't advise anyone to refuse to do a job if you're in a run and you're not happy with how things are going. Do like Jacques did. You give your notice, and give them enough time to do whatever they have to do, and then.
Be professional.
Be professional.
Okay.
Yeah.
So getting back to Quebec now with
Kevin? So I went up like that was almost the end of the match. I went up for my leg drop, and swear to God, I dropped the leg, and I got him on the nose with my heel, and I didn't do it on purpose. Oof. But what a bad timing.
Oh.
What would happened the previous night, and I apologize. And I'm so sincere. And never I intended to drop that boot, that foot on his face, But that got him so pissed off. So he started hammering me, bang, bang, bang. And he called the finish big boot jackknife. And then, it was a little schmoz in the back where I was pissed off. Yeah. No, I didn't do it on purpose.
I mean, I've been there. In fact, I won't say with who, but in one of my recent matches.
Recent match?
Recent. Okay. And recent means, 20, This would have actually been right at the end of 2019,
Okay,
which
okay.
somehow that counts as recent. I had a big amount of friction with one of my opponents behind the scenes. If you do enough research, I'll drop enough clues that you figure out which match. It was a pivotal championship match, and had a lot of friction with an opponent of mine, similar to like you and Kevin Nash. And we got in there, and for whatever reason, the timing was just off on something, and I threw a kick as they went. It's just a simple, they go for a back body drop, just, a kick, caught them right between the eyes. So we were almost coming to blows, I would say maybe 2 hours before that, before any fan had come into the arena. We squash it, everything is good, and a kick just happened to get away, caught them between the eyes, and it was just totally an accident. But it just, when tensions are high, something like that, I don't know if they ever forgave me for it, but it was the same thing. It was just an accident, and it's unfortunate that it happened
timing.
there. Just
Bad
bad
timing.
timing.
Yeah,
Totally.
bad timing because I'm trying to really make everything good after that because I felt, okay, maybe I went too far, maybe because I don't know. There's a lot of things going on that I was not experimented on a. If you work in England and you do jobs like on top every night, it's a house show every night. It's not on TV. It's not your hometown or whatever. For a certain reason, I thought that everything that would happen in Montreal would have an impact on my career, because you're always thinking that you always come back to Montreal and people will always remember, but they don't.
Montreal, you know what? Montreal never forgets. So
Yeah, but they don't. Nobody remembers my match with Shawn. Nobody remembers really my match with Kevin Nash.
But it is true.
But they
that-
remember you.
Yeah.
But to what you're saying,
like my point is, if I would have done the job, on the jackknife, it would still be the same today. Maybe even better. Like who knows?
Yeah. And Montreal, I feel we do remember. I mean, we still chant "You screwed Brett" when Shawn comes out or
but
when
that
Vince
was
comes out.
that was a major thing on pay-per-view. Us, it was just a house show too. Like that. In a way, it's not so bad that I refuse to do job on the house show because it's not like a pay-per-view. But in another way, it's so meaningless. Why make such a big fuss for a house show?
The red light's not on. What's the point? Right?
Maybe in my mind, also I thought that they were gonna, since that Bob Backlund belt was supposed to be, at the Olympic Stadium to be put on me, and I thought maybe they were giving me a little break, like 3 days with the title, Montreal, Quebec, and I drop it back in Toronto. That scenario was in my mind, because all my life, I want to be a world champion. I want to be a world champion. And a lot of people will say, you're a mark for yourself. But if you listen to Stone Cold Steve Austin, if you don't chase to become
the best.
Yep.
Well, you're in the wrong business too.
Exactly.
Yep. Absolutely.
So I just started to. I believed that they were going to do something, and it's not what they had planned, and I was so disappointed. It was at a time in my career where, if I was having a high, and I would go very high. If I was having bad news, I'd go really low. And just like we talk about hockey, you have to let your emotions in the middle, which is what over the years, I learned to do with my career. Not get too excited when everything goes well, and not to get too depressed when things don't go that
That's
well.
well said.
I'm trying to stay even keel.
And what was interesting was, as your run, I mean, you had a great run as Jean-Pierre Lafitte, and then you'd find yourself in WCW after all of this happened, you and Jacques.
Yeah, I had a great run. Also, this is very important. Like when Triple H came to WWE, he came from WCW. I remember his first TV tapings. He was like running around with his bags. No one would let him like take a seat anywhere. Everybody was like when he wanted to sit, like everybody was taking the place. And eventually, I was the guy that was cool with him, Like I went here, man, like have a spot, And then we hooked up, and then we became good friends, and we traveled together. We had and then we had a bet who was gonna who was going to outlast the other guy on the winning streak. We had both the winning streak about 8 months, and then he knew mine was coming to an end because I was wrestling with Brett. And then he goes, you're going to be put on the sharpshooter, so I'll win the bet, and then. So we had a good friendship, and it was cool. But out of nowhere, eventually, he hooked up with them guys, with Shawn and everybody. I think he went straight up to Red Rooster,
Terry Taylor,
and asked him, I want to make it. I want to make it big, and who should I hang out with? And he goes, if you go with these guys, you can't go wrong. And then that's what he asked. He went straight up to them and asked him, can I travel with you guys?
That's
So just to say, it was not the whole clique that maybe Paul didn't like what I did with Kevin that night, but we prior to that, me and him, we were on good terms.
Yeah.
Like I helped him.
Yeah. And another clique member who still thinks very highly of you, though, is Just Incredible.
Yeah.
Who's a good friend of mine there. PJ still thinks very highly of you. You guys had that great match in ECW.
Yep.
Right after your run in WCW.
Yeah, and we were
second
on the
run in
road.
WCW.
We were put on the road like when he was Aldo Montoya. I've wrestled him. That was after. That's a funny story. That's after I refused the job against Kevin, and then we're already we're touring the States, then straight to Europe, and then every night I'm going over against PJ, and Kevin's like, what the hell, man? Like, that guy's so not business. And we put him over every night. And then when we came back into the States, that's when they called that big meeting with Vince, trying to get me out of the company. But not just me, but I was probably the main reason why Vince came to a house show. And was it Oklahoma or... I don't know. It's in Shawn's book where they tried to get rid of me.
So I had an experience with WWE where I went there for my first tryouts in, no, not my first tryouts, because I had done a week in Florida for FCW at the end of 2009. I did my first TVs in May 2010. I forget who it was I was speaking to. It may have been Brawler, but because I spoke with Brawler a lot when I was there, but someone I was there dealing with, and they said, oh, you're from Montreal, because this was in Toronto, and they said, we've had some issues with some guys from Montreal. They're like, who trained you? I'm like, well, Jacques Rougeau trained. Oh, okay, you Jacques trained. We had a lot of issues with Jacques. He was hard to deal with, and even Carl, he refused to do some. Yeah. They mentioned you. Even Carl, he refused to do some. Jacques. So it's really important that we know you have a good attitude, because we've had issues with people from here before.
It's great because I think when did Sammy got hired there?
I don't give a flying fig.
I'll say
2015 maybe. 2015 because he said, I trained myself basically, like I became a wrestler by myself, and he said Bill DeMott knows you, and can I say you trained me? And I told him yeah, and so it must be okay with Bill DeMott.
Yeah.
No, but me and Bill we tag team together in Japan, so. And he came for mini tryouts before he got hired. Actually, he got hired by WCW before. Like Chris Benoit. He had at least 3 or 4 tryouts, and they wouldn't take him.
Who's this, Bill?
Bill and Chris. Chris had a match with Adam Bomb. He had a match with Owen Hart. And he knew, Chris and Owen, worked Calgary together. So... They had a great match.
Wow. Show me that tape.
Him Bomb.
Didn't they have someone managing Chris Benoit for those? They tried him out with a manager?
Maybe that one of the 3 shows.
Yeah, I feel I read something about this. Yeah.
And then they did not hire him.
Yeah. It's interesting. But as I was saying, when your career, you went to WCW, and then all of a sudden, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, they end up moving to WCW not too long after. Yeah. So, you and Kevin are reunited.
I got along good with Vince Russo. Vince Russo was writing... a lot of the stuff for Vince magazines and things like that. So when Vince Russo became in charge of WCW, I saw an opportunity there, and then I went there.
Well, the timeline's just a little bit off because I meant when you and Jacques went as the went as the Amazing French Canadians.
But Kevin wasn't there yet.
But he came after, and that's probably why we never saw the Outsiders against the Amazing French Canadians.
Yeah. Yeah.
They had you fight, Meng and the Barbarian, and they had you fight Harlem Heat a million times. Although you did that great match with Harlem
And
Heat.
and the Steiners again. I think
Steiners
they went back
again,
to
yeah.
CW.
But the one with Harlem Heat where you did that, the tower
Of
from the stairs.
Stairs on top
On
of
the
the
top
top
rope.
rope. Yeah.
World War 396,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, I really got along. I had
Yeah.
a great chemistry with them, and Stevie Ray became one of a good friend of mine on the road. Not on the road, but at the arenas, because we're not traveling with anyone, just me and Jacques all the time. But he's just a good guy. We just hit it off. Like, he was just cool. Booker was cool too. They were both cool. But me and Stevie, we went to on a tour and overseas, Lebanon, together with other guys. So he's a cool dude.
And they did that storyline where I think Colonel Parker was managing Harlem Heat, and then he ended up managing you
Us.
guys, and Sherry started managing Harlem Heat,
Yeah.
and then they were getting married, and somewhere amidst all of that, you guys are having matches with Harlem Heat.
Yeah.
It was entertaining TV.
I believe
it was great.
I believe the stipulation for that World War III match was if you guys lose, Sherry gets 5 minutes with Colonel Parker.
Yeah,
match.
that's what it was.
And he tried to scurry out, and you guys, oh, you pulled him out of the ring. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't want to be 5 minutes alone with Sherry. Whoop my ass.
And then we already talked about how you went back to the WWF there in '98 or '99, I think it was.
Yeah, I think that run lasted only 4 or 5 months.
Yeah,
And
they
then-
gave you horrible entrance music, and you guys were not really the Quebecers of
No,
old. But
we tried. I wanted so hard to have my single career that I wanted to really show that I had only one eye, and I wanted kept on portraying that I imaged the one eye guy. So we didn't look as a team anymore. It was my fault.
But the one thing that I liked from that run that we got was, I mean, you had a couple of good matches there too. I could see the tag team style evolving with the two of you. But you had the Brawl for All, where I think that was a standout moment. People are still talking about the Brawl for All to this day. And you got Steve Williams in the first round, Dr. Death. We had Godfather on an episode. He talked about the Brawl for All. We've had a few people. I've talked to Too Cold Scorpio, who's another mentor of mine.
He was pretty tough on those fights.
Yeah.
Too Cold
He told
Scorpio.
me some interesting stories about it. I wanted to know what happened with you going into the match with Dr. Death. Was there anyone coming to you?
I felt like we heard, okay, Steve Williams been training for 2 months for this or 3 months in Japan, beating up guys. He's an American All-Star.
All-American?
All-American, and 4 times, and played for the Oakland Raiders in pro football. And a coach came on the show, said Steve had like 100 stitches, didn't miss minutes in the game, like got stitched up and then went back, and he's so crazy, he's going to roll over all the competitions. And I felt like this was built for Steve to win the whole thing. Not to, as a plan. It is a plan for him because he's got such an
amateur pedigree.
Yeah, an aura.
Reputation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
An aura. There's
the
an aura about
reputation
him.
of the shooter, tough guy, just
This
beating
tournament
up
was
everybody.
meant for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was really like a bully in the back too. He would like be intimidating with the young kids. He'd bang his head on the lockers and shove their bags and push them out. And he was like really like
Kind of like what I do to Kyle on a daily basis.
Pretty much.
yeah. So
Bullying's wrong, kids.
I'm like, I'm home. It's the summer. I got a phone call. I pick up the phone. It's Bruce Pritchard. And, hey, Carl, it's Bruce. Vince got a great idea for you. And I go, yeah? What is it? Well, we got a tournament with 16 guys, and it's a real fight. So I went from there to, yeah. Okay, yeah. Keep on going, Yeah, he's got a hell of an idea for himself, yeah. And then he throws, the first match would be you against Steve Williams. And I went, okay, I'm in. when is it? In 2 weeks. Oh, so I wasn't, didn't have time to train, didn't know nothing about amateur wrestling, didn't know much about MMA that year. It was 99 or something?
90,
I think it was 90,
98?
98 or 99.
98, leading into 99, I believe.
So I went to see a guy that knew a little bit about MMA. Asked him if he wanted to coach me. So I brought him on the road with me, bring him to the Raw, bought his plane tickets, I had to pay him, pay his expenses. So they know. I've been doing that. I've got a coach with me. They came up to me right at the beginning of the show. I didn't eat all day. I'm ready to fight. And they go, we're not going to do it this week. Something happened. We're going to do it probably next week. So it was like, okay, I'm not going to have coach now. It's too, if I'm bringing him on the road and they decide not to throw that match. So I went to fight Steve without a personal coach. So I took the generic coach. And it was the same two coaches for everyone. So you have the red jacket or the blue jacket, either one, So it was just...
Yeah, one was Montreal, one was Columbus.
Whatever. And then I'm ready to go against Steve. I'm hoping I'm going to win that tournament, and that's going to be my big break. You always think this thing is going to be my big break.
Yeah, anything can happen, right?
So I'm calling my friends. They don't know the guy, but they've seen me in different fights, and I'm trying to get some good words that I could be good, So I'm ready to go. Hawk comes to me in the dressing room over there at Raw, and he goes, Steve's pretty crazy. I know. He goes, Steve's not going to hurt you. Like, when he's going to, just to mess up with you a little bit, and when he tags you, you just drop. You pick up your $5,000, and you won't get hurt. So, and then I told Hawk, I said, go back to Steve and tell him I don't give a fuck about his fight. His fucking knockout. Tell him he's in for the fight of his life. And that pissed off Steve a lot.
Well, you told me that story, I think back when we were filming the web series together, and hearing it a second time, I kind of get the impression that might have been, Steve maybe was feeling a little intimidated, and maybe he sent Hawk to go talk to you to try to put the fear in you.
Because he watched, I wrestled Edge on the TV taping, I don't know which one, and he was watching the match, and he was telling me, when I got back, gorilla position, he goes, 12-minute match, and you're not even breathing hard. And he just sent a little comment like that. So I don't know how he felt, but there was no way, I really legit thought I could maybe win this thing.
Because I had first interpreted that as, Hawk was doing that, and, maybe he just bought into how allegedly tough Dr. Death was.
Maybe he was hoping for every guy to say yes. I don't know, but maybe once I said no, maybe then once he saw the other fight, like Bob Holly and Bart Gunn had a hell of a fight where they both stood up, but Bart was having more points legit, and went to the next door. I think he knew back then that he couldn't go ahead with that. I'm going to make sure Steve won't hurt you,
Well, if I'm not, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but we had The Godfather on for an episode, and I think maybe my memory is, not as good as I think it is, but I think it's pretty good. Didn't Godfather imply that Steve Williams was already kind of washed up at that point? And even Godfather said he didn't believe that. He said that was not the Steve Williams of old. He was washed up by that point.
He knew him better than me. And maybe that first fight against me where he couldn't knock me out, maybe that raised a lot of confidence in the other fighters. Because everybody was I think, personally, that's what I always thought. That was the big receipt for the Kevin Nash incident in Montreal. That we're going to throw him against Dr. Death on this first round. We'll see how he is. He's going to back down, or if he's going to say, no, I don't want any of this. So I felt like I really had to show up strong. Yeah. That's how I felt.
Well, if you look at it on paper, I mean, here you have this guy, as you said, Steve Williams, decorated All-American, football player, amateur wrestler, all these credentials, killing people in Japan, and now
beating up guys in bars, and
Yeah.
almost like the King Tunga story.
Yeah,
JR's best friend.
Yeah.
There's this legend about him facing a guy who is a lifelong professional wrestler, never had
Any amateur background.
an amateur wrestling match or boxing match or anything like
Handicap
that.
on one eye.
And one exactly with one eye. So on paper, it looks like a mismatch.
Yeah.
But then when you watch the actual fight, it's far from that. I mean, it should be a squash. It should be, it should be like if,
it should have been.
like if Mike Tyson in his prime were to fight Kyle.
Yeah. I think that's what they were thinking.
He better pack a lunch.
I think that's what.
Tell you that.
That was what they hoped for. They hoped that I was going to get my ass kicked, and I got out of there with a lot of respect from Bruce and from a lot of guys.
And then we would see what happened to Dr. Death as it went along. He ran into Bart Gunn.
Well, he was up on the points that was the second round, where he went through me on the first round. Bart went through Bob Ollie on the first round, and they meet up on the second round. And then he was up on the points. He was up on everything. And then out of nowhere, that left came out.
The great equalizer.
Bang. And then between the ropes, tore his quads, I think. Jaw broken, nose broken.
Had a rough day.
He was broken.
Well, I think there
Spirit
were
broken.
I mean, did you sustain any damage when you fought him? Did you?
Not at all.
No. So that's interesting because I feel most of the participants in the Brawl for All got hurt. I know the Godfather told us
Godfather,
he
Savio
got
Vega got hurt.
Yeah.
The
Brackus.
Tuco Scorpio?
Guy, oh yeah, Brackus. He
Yeah.
just got really a bad nose because he got totally hammered.
Bradshaw.
Bradshaw.
Yeah.
Vega, I told you his
Yeah.
neck.
Godfather. He told
Godfather and the football player.
Draws.
Draws got injured too,
us. Yeah.
and maybe some others.
Yeah, I think Scorpio said he came out okay, but he even said there were some shenanigans, and hopefully, I'll get him on the show here one of these days to talk about it. But he said that there were some shenanigans with his match also, where he fought 8-ball.
No. Also, the guy from the UFC World Champion Dan Severn.
Dan Severn.
Yeah.
was in the
Yes.
tournament,
And he
but he
withdrew.
was winning like every match, but it's so boring. Like he was just grappling.
Yeah.
He was no punching, just grappling. And they said, no, we can't go on with that. So I think he had to redo his match or something like that.
Well, Severn won against, I think, Mark Merrow. I think was his first round.
and then they changed him for another guy.
I heard him do an interview, and I have a tremendous respect for Dan Severn, and I feel he said something where he said he wanted to do only wrestling and win the tournament doing only takedowns, and he even said something about he just would want to not have gloves. I think he said he would not throw a strike. He'd agree no strikes, but no gloves.
Wow.
And speaking of takedowns, a point I want to make is that one of your big victories against Steve Williams, a decorated All-American amateur wrestler, is the fact that you took him down in that fight.
Yeah, but that was not even on purpose. It was just, it was purely, no, it was like a double arm underhook suplex. It was like quick.
Yeah.
He came at me, and I hooked him under the arm, and we flipped, and then that's how I took him down. Because I had no idea how to take someone down. Like from a single leg or double leg.
Well, if it were a
I didn't
judo
know that.
contest, if it were a
No,
wrestling
but
contest, scored big
that kind
points.
of hurt me because I was trying to go for the big punch, and then he would always get me on the legs and take me down. Yeah. And then eventually I felt okay. I was trying to go for the home run. Little that I know that you'd save more energy being compact and being a good speed and hit quick than to try to go large and wide. And I was trying to get his head off his body, basically.
Now, I got to ask because there's a lot of rumors about that tournament. The tournament was made to embarrass Bradshaw because he was a bully. The tournament was made because they wanted Steve Williams to go after Steve Austin. You were there at that point. So what's your opinion on that?
That's true. I think that's true.
Bradshaw?
Bradshaw was the one who was saying to Vince Russo, if it was a legitimate fight in the back, I would beat all those guys. And Russo took him up to his word and put that tournament on. Come Vince McMahon, and
Now, were you and Bradshaw close? Because you're both Otto Vance guys.
Yeah, no, we weren't close.
No?
He was a bit of a bully.
Yeah, eh?
Yeah, he was a bit. But
Can't have a haircut like that and not be a schmuck.
I don't
right?
know. Like, I think he tried one time a little bit to. That was after Brawl for All. He tried to do something with me, and we went into like a face-to-face. Like, I was not gonna take any of that shit, and that stopped there. But it was an incident with him and Jacques too. Like, we did land in Winnipeg, and then we're having like, let's say we all stay at Holiday Inn. So the Holiday Inn van comes to pick us up. We're maybe 6 or 8 of the boys.
Mm-hmm.
And Bradshaw tossed the driver away. He's from Texas. He picks up that van and he goes, makes some donuts and, sideways and everything. And Jacques like, I've got 2 kids, man. If you don't relax on the wheel and you don't drive properly, I'm gonna fucking knock you out. And that was it. Like, he went up to him at the Holiday Inn in the hotel, and it was not even a fight.
That was Jacques went up to Bradshaw. Yeah. Well, I mean, Jacques has the reputation of having taken out the Dynamite Kid, which is no small feat. Yeah. Sucker punch notwithstanding, roll of quarters notwithstanding, he stood up to one of the toughest guys of all time.
I've seen, Jacques stood up to the Steiners. He stood up to Ludwig Borga, and he stood up to Bradshaw.
So, I mean, Jacques trained me. I know him fairly well. I clearly talked to you and probably spent more time with you than with Jacques, and definitely getting to know you as a friend. Yeah. How tough is Jacques?
I don't think he's that tough. I think he's got so much pride for the name of his family. I never seen him in a fight other than hearing that story with
Dynamite Kid.
That's it. Yeah. But I know he wouldn't take it no shit from no one. He wouldn't take any ribs. He wouldn't take any jokes.
Yeah. And I know that when you went back to WCW, and this is interesting. I really want to go in depth on this with you because I spoke to Lance Storm, and he talked about when you did the Team Canada in WCW. Jacques came back as a special guest referee. You came back with him also. You were given the hardcore title, or the Saskatchewan Hardcore International title, as Lance had called it at the time. And it was interesting because I know there was some friction with Jacques and
me.
Oh, there was friction with the two of you.
Well,
that I didn't know.
Until that time, we were not talking to each other. Yeah. We were in big arguments, and we had many times.
Just didn't see eye to eye, or just personal
different
stuff?
Reasons, different things. I didn't get along at all.
Okay.
Because for me, when it was the retirement match, that was relief. I thought this is going to be.
Because then in WCW, Lance Storm has the 3 championships. You joined Team Canada.
Well,
Jacques,
before that, when Jacques went to Vancouver, referee Bret Hart's match with the Canada's rules.
Was it Bret or was it?
It was Bret.
It was Bret. I'm pretty sure I remember.
It was Bret.
I
don't know who Bret wrestled, but it was Bret, and Jacques would always interfere on behalf of Bret. It would say, "No, this cannot be done because in Canada the rules are." He had this Canadian book rules, and you would that to me, this angle was so over.
But I was going to say the one with Lance Storm now, which also took place.
No, it was not for Bret. It was against Bret, because Bret was babyface in Vancouver, and Jacques came as a heel, so he was rooting for the other guy, the heel.
Okay. But just to say, you ended up in the stable in Team Canada with Lance Storm, with Felix Skipper, and Jacques.
Yeah.
And so I know that there was an incident, and I talked with Lance about it, where Jacques was booked, I think, for the next night for Nitro, was supposed to wrestle Ernest the Cat Miller. So you maybe tell us about what took place there.
Well, they told Jacques, because me and Jacques at that time were not on the same level anymore. Jacques doing his thing, I'm doing my thing. I got, because I knew whatever, it was not together, but we ended up in the same team. And he didn't want to do the job against Ernest the Cat Miller because he said he felt like at that point on, it was going to be just job.
And I know Lance, when I spoke to him, he had said that he felt as though, because he took the plane home with Jacques afterwards. And he said he understood where Jacques was coming from, because apparently when Jacques had negotiated his deal with WCW, part of the deal was that he was coming in, but he wasn't doing any jobs on TV. And so he said that was the deal. And right from what would more or less be the second night, they ended up kind of stabbing him in the back. Now, do you feel that some of the heat from Jacques... by the way, I also heard that there was some conflict with Kevin Nash. There was some incident...
when we showed up, like we're doing the Team Canada, first Jacques doing his thing in Vancouver. I'm not there. I'm just going to near Alberta, Kamloops. No, it's not Kamloops, but it's up in the mountain. Anyways, I'm showing up for TV tapings, not for the pay-per-view. And then I see Jacques, and then Kevin Nash was there.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I seen him, I felt like this, I don't know, I felt like this is not going to go well.
The anxiety,
I don't think he knew that I was going to be booked on the show. I don't think. And I think he was like almost in the booking.
So did you feel some of the heat from Jacques ended up falling on you also at that time?
I stayed. I thought they were gonna do something with me, and I felt like maybe they were testing Jacques, or maybe it was not gonna be that bad. Also, I felt like now that Kevin saw me, maybe they're gonna kill that push.
And
I had many feelings.
It's interesting how so much of your career, it revolves around Jacques and whatnot, and it's like you guys had this, love-hate relationship and all that. And I didn't tell you about this when we were talking beforehand, but we like surprises here on Jofo in the Ring, and I actually just got word that one of our other special guests for tonight is here. Someone who is, like I said, a former partner of yours, someone who you've teamed with, and you know him as Jacques, and we know him as the Mountie. We actually have him here with us right now.
Hey, Carl! How are you, my friend?
Hey, what's up?
I'm not the Mountie. The Quebecer, mon ami, là.
He brought the taser and everything.
Hey, ça va?
Oui, vous.
Ben oui.
I got my man. That's why I was late.
You always get your man, eh?
Every time. Except for those arts.
I was wondering, where is he? Where's Kyle?
I know he is a Mountie,
We like
because
to have
as you
fun
can
here.
see, he is a Mountie because he's not handsome, brave, or strong, like a Quebecer.
Yeah. I should have took the booster off your chair while you're going. You're taller than me.
I'm actually 4'9", so.
Now you're taller than me, Make me look bad. You're okay.
We thought we'd do this as a
we wanted
special
That's cool.
moment.
We wanted to wrap it up with a joke.
Yeah.
We like to have fun here, but
Of course.
But jokes aside, and I don't know if you did want to make a joke, did you?
no, I just wanted to say, in all honesty, it's been a pleasure to have you here. I mean, we've talked about you almost on every episode, right? So
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
been a long time coming for us to have you grace our wonderful show with your presence. So
And I feel like we discussed a lot of things that I usually don't discuss in other podcasts. So I feel
appreciate
it's like
that.
new
Yeah.
materials. Some new materials, a lot of new materials.
Yeah, definitely. And I know we're probably a little short on time here, or we're maybe way over time. We might have to make this into a two-part special. But I was getting right to one of the things I wanted to talk about, because I had heard, again, when I spoke to Lance, that in WCW in that last run, it was it a visa issue that kept them from continuing to use you? Because that's the impression Lance was under.
No, we had our visa.
Yeah?
I had mine. I don't know if Jacques had his.
Okay.
But I had my visa.
I've read that as well, that there
Because-
was a problem with his visa, and that's why he couldn't wrestle in WCW again.
Well,
What you
no,
were
no.
taught.
But Jacques, as soon as he landed in Montreal, called someone for Journal de Montréal and made up the story where it was like, he was not happy with the
'Cause
way.
that's interesting because, again, we always talk about the issues that Canadians face. You and I talk about it all
Yeah.
the time. You've helped to mentor me a lot, helped me navigate the waters in figuring out this situation.
Yeah.
And I'd be remiss if I had you on here. We didn't talk about it a bit, about how difficult it is for Canadians.
Yes, it is.
Who are trying to make it. Canadians like myself, and you're a shining example of one who has managed to succeed in spite of the obstacles in front of you. But I'd have to say that, when I look at a lot of the major companies out there, more jobs than ever in the professional wrestling industry, whether it be WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, Impact, so many opportunities, but not as much opportunity for international talents, let alone Canadians, who are pretty much sharing North America with Americans. You're the only Canadian in Ring of Honor. I don't know if people realize that, but you're pretty much the only one. I guess Angelina Love is also Canadian, but she's been Americanized many years over, married to an American. You're the only Canadian there, and I personally think that there's something wrong with that. That for the fact that there are so many Australians and people from the UK, Mexicans, we are only represented by one person. And I mean, can you shed any light as to why that is?
I don't know. I think Australians, I don't know why, but England, I kind of... Their style of wrestling is very different. It's very non-American. It's very catch as catch can type of deal, where very methodical, very different. The little pirouette and, the cravat and things that I'm sure you can do very well, but the way that they are brought up in the business over there, it's a very different style. So I can see maybe a company wanting to bring someone, a British guy, for having a different style and the accent and the interview, a ring announcer like Lord Alfred Hayes. He was great. I thought it was awesome. I love it. So I like the accent, but I think it's like a trend. I think maybe hopefully they're going to be trending Canada eventually.
Well, it'd be nice, but I mean, when you look at it, just from a common sense standpoint, it's like we're so much closer to,
and there's such a big amount of talents.
Yeah.
There's
many
great talents.
Many of which we've featured on here, and you just look up the Canadian Indies, you'll see tons of them. Yeah. As I always like to say, I'm the run to the litter, and believe me, I'm better than 99% of what you see out there, and I'm being humble. But or maybe I'm just being angry because when I talk about Canada, when I talk about Canada, it pisses me off.
It's
quite
all right.
frankly.
You're in character. It's okay.
No, this ain't character. This is what I live, eat, breathe, and sleep. No, guys, you can laugh if you want, but
I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing the way it came out.
When it comes down, it's all good. We're here to have a good time. But I eat, live, breathe, sleep. This issue, right. I wake up. It's the first thing I think of in the morning. I go to sleep. It's the last.
No, it's
thing
a very
I think of
serious issue.
And it's the fact that we're underrepresented. And if we were living in a different day and time, you could look at something like Major League Baseball when there were no black players allowed, or maybe one or two. It's really no different. It's a systemic ignorance when it comes down to it. And I think that a company that big, where we are geographically closer to Maryland, which is the headquarters, but people just don't know the logistics that we have. That if Ring of Honor, for example, and I'm only using Ring of Honor because you're here, you're a former champion.
You can name every company.
I'm only using them as an example where it becomes they can easily take any person off the American independent scene and put them on a per appearance deal, or just pay as you go. Try them out, see if they can catch on with the audience. Whereas for someone from Canada, just to get the right paperwork to be able to go there and, let's say, try out legally, that's looking at $3,000 to $25,000, depending on what the price is, just to try out. So we don't have the same playing field if we're dealing with guys that can be taken off the scene and put on a per appeal when. If they're not coming here, we can't actually legally try out. And I think that's what shuts the door to so many talents in Canada when it comes to...
It's such a huge country. There's a lot of opportunities. Not for the wrestlers, for the companies.
For the promoters as well, yeah, of course.
I think if a company like Ring of Honor took a stand and said, we're going to do this, we're going to integrate Canadians, we're going to be the savior of Canada, it would gain them a tremendous amount of goodwill that could in turn become a tremendous amount of revenue for them. Not only that, but they would add people who could realistically be giving the Roman Reigns and the Kenny Omegas of this world a run for their money. You know, people like me who see those guys who are, around my age and doing this as long as me, but actually getting to work with the best so that they become better. And I think that's the frustrating part, is that this is not a hole that you can work your way out of, dig your way out of, or even pay your way out of. That's the frustrating part about it, is that it takes a company that's going to step up. And hell, if I could get on the phone with anyone running these companies, I'm pretty damn sure I could change their mind. But, at this level, you don't have those opportunities accorded to you. So it's really just about making as much noise as you can and, trying to figure it out. But unfortunately, you can't hustle your way out of this damn ignorance within the system that we face all the time as professionals.
Yeah, well, I know exactly where you're coming from. It's been like tough all the time for me to be able to go work in the States, and it's been hard all the time. So I went through the same process and stuff. So it's time maybe for things to change.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, no disrespect to you, but I don't want to be 52 years old when I'm getting my first national world championship. I really
but it's a different
believe me, I'm not going to give up, and you're very much an inspiration when it comes to that. But that, I think, also speaks to the problem itself, that as Canadians, people think we're on an equal playing field with Americans and have the same opportunities accorded to us, but we really don't. And everyone, from fans to people in the front offices of the major companies, I think that it would take people like yourself, like Chris Jericho, people who are Canadians who know the struggle.
Kenny Omega.
And who's more Japanese at this point than Canadian. Yeah. But anyways, all that to say, I think it'll take people within the system that have the ears of the right people to make them aware of this and say, hey, what the hell are we going to do about this? Shouldn't something be done? Does it make sense? Does it make sense that women weren't allowed to vote? Does it make sense that African Americans were put into slavery? Does it make sense? It takes people speaking up about these things. And if I'm shocking people out there by saying these kinds of things, well, people need to be shocked so that they actually open their ears and listen. And that's what it comes down to. I think it's whoever will take the first step will be remembered in the history books.
Yes.
In the right way. And, those who are going to turn a blind eye, the history books will not be so kind to them. So, again, that's just me getting very worked up about this.
I feel the pressure.
It's something that's gone on for a very long time, and I think it's time that it changes. I think that, there's no good reason why, two guys like us shouldn't be fighting for something like the Ring of Honor world title, or any world title for that matter. If it's a world title, why are Canadians second-class citizens when we're also Americans? We're part of North America. We're all Americans here. God bless America. We're all Americans here. Just because we're not from the United States portion doesn't make us any different. You cut us, we bleed. So I think it's time that somebody
I think it goes
for
companies, and it goes also for the U.S. border. I think we should be allowed to perform in the States too, without having so much problems.
There is a rumor that somebody might be throwing an event at the Olympic Stadium, 80,000 people.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be organically, like a lot of things that happen in my life happen organically, where I don't have to force anything that much for it to happen.
Has to happen organically.
Yeah.
Would be great to see.
You can't force those kinds of things.
Yeah, definitely.
I've been watching you since I was like 10. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I feel like there's not many.
My dad, I got to meet Carl from the Quebecers.
I just feel younger. I don't know.
What the hell?
No. But to my point, it's like I feel like there's not many people I can learn as much as I've learned from you. Especially here in Quebec, we don't have too many good, knowledgeable veterans.
I think I get what you're saying, because I'm trying to get the feel of how we are mentally, at this point, or that thing, or whatever, and many mistakes that I made, and try to people so I can share my experiences, and so a lot of people can avoid a lot of things or mistakes or errors that I made, and
Give it back to the.
yeah. I'm trying to really give back with my experiences. So, if you're very pay attention, you can get this point. I won't make that same mistake, or I'll act differently there. And so I'm trying to do that a lot, and also inspire people. By hopefully I do inspire people.
That's for sure you do.
So
That's why I always say I want to be you when I grow up.
Like you.
And it's okay. Kyle wants to be me when he grows up. Because I am older than him.
Oh yeah. That's cool. I used to tell Vince I want to be like him when I grow up.
He's like a little big brother. He's smaller than me, but he's older, so he's a little big brother. So, where can we find you on social media?
Everywhere, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. PCO is not human.
PCO on
Speaking
TikTok.
my language now on TikTok.
I didn't know that.
You guys should do a TikTok together. As the Quebecers.
I'm 20,000 away from being the 1 million view man on TikTok.
Oh yeah, but you never know.
Yeah.
A lot of singers came out of the TikTok.
I know.
Maybe it will be a wrestler who come out on top from TikTok.
If you ever want to do a collaboration, I'm a phone call away, sir.
Collaborations are always good.
Just saying, throwing it out.
All right.
Time is
Yeah,
raw.
yeah.
Always got a new video out, training his
Yeah.
ass off,
Yep.
entertaining the people.
That's a lot of work, though. It's like you try
Oh,
to
yeah.
be creative every week. Pretty crazy.
How's Destro come into that play? Because honestly, when I watch PCO Justice, he always sticks out to me every single time.
Yeah, of course. I mean, he's really the monster maniacs. He's really the all-time feats of strength maniac. So some of the ideas are coming from him. He's so passionate about
You could see that.
all-time strongmen and about monsters. Like sometimes, let's say we do PCO Justice, or we shoot a day or two, and he goes, I think I'm going to watch Frankenstein tonight. Yeah, or if I do a cameo, because I'm on cameo as well. So if I do cameo and I finish the cameo by, it's alive, it's alive, it's alive, and he goes, I'm going to watch Frankenstein tonight.
Some of the coolest stuff in the web series actually came from Destro.
Yeah.
It's his idea. So
Yeah.
even some of my stuff that
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did, even lines that I say, it came from Destro.
Yeah.
And you'd never know, but he's really one of the main brains behind that
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
But
Very
my
cre-
favorite story, and I guess we can edit it out if you don't want me to say it. But my favorite story with Destro was an episode that you and him did, where he injected you.
Yeah,
With bleach. It was around the time, I think.
With bleach?
Yeah, Trump was talking
Yeah,
about.
about Lysol. Lysol.
And so,
You just
and,
inject it into your veins.
and I wish Destro were here to tell his versions because he told it so well. But he's telling me about it, and he's like, "Yeah, we did that episode, and where we injected him with the Lysol, and it was great, and PCO was a little worried. He's like, "Are you sure this is going to be fine?" And he's like, I told him, "Just give me your arm," and I shot him. He just injected him, and then he's telling me, "But it's fine because I know the right dosage. You can inject that kind of stuff."
Oh my God.
So,
Yeah, I made the sun in England with that.
I know the right amount to not make you stutter for the rest of your life.
but you also made the sun apparently because you did that thing where you blew the fire.
Oh, yeah.
and it did a burning cross.
I burned my face, too. I'm still have the scar. You know?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, we had to take it down.
But I mean, great times. We could, I think we could go
talk
on.
forever.
Just on the series, yeah.
You might as well, we could make you a fourth co-host if you want at this point. But no, it's been great having you on. We'll get all your socials up on there. And obviously, folks, if you like the episode, let us know in the comments. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at Jeremy Prophet, on Instagram at The Real Jeremy Prophet. Why don't you guys hit him with your socials?
We're Jofo in the Ring on Instagram, Facebook, and of course on Twitter as well. I have a personal account, Frank Jofo, Kyle as well.
I mean, you can find me everywhere. I'm on TikTok, I'm not on TikTok. I run TikTok now. Instagram, Facebook, all Kyle Jofo. Twitter, Twitch even. I do that every now and then. Sometimes I like to get drunk, play some video games, talk some shit. It's fun, right?
Yeah.
I mean, check us all out. Follow us, like, share, subscribe. Hit the little bell so you get the notifications even. And, yeah.
Before we go,
Tune in Tuesdays.
Any last words? Anything else you'd like to say to the people out there who are watching?
Oh, it's just been a great ride with the fans and with everybody. I mean, just enjoyed your comments, and yeah, I'm getting a lot of stuff. People reacting to stuff, and people telling me their story and how I inspired them, and keep on sending them. It's very interesting. And as I do inspire a lot of people, and I hear some great stories, people losing weight, people getting in shape, getting back into the business, a lot of things, like different things, different. But it comes back to me and it inspires me back to do better. So
Yeah.
it's thank you very much for everything. Thanks for having me on.
Thank
too.
you.
Dude,
Thank
thank
you.
you for being
And
here, honestly.
congrats on your nice shirt.
What about my shirt?
I don't know. He paid for it.
He gets money for this. Though, yeah.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been one of our biggest shows that we've ever done, live on location. Would love to thank Esports Central, 1231 St. Catherine West, the place where you can come and have a good time. You can have a drink. You can play a video game. You can watch a sporting event. You can just have a great time. And believe me, the world needs this. So on behalf of Jofo in the Ring, the people in front of the scenes, Kyle Morin, Frank Jofo, the people behind the scenes, Armando, the Prod God, Bruno, Trax, Amelie, Jess Sorrell, Kezia, all
Tico
y'all
Leak.
crazy people in the comments section on this video. Absolutely everybody, and myself, the harbinger of truth, Jeremy Prophet. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, remember,
Wrestling is life.